Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. We are retired New York City police detectives. We got 20 plus years of law enforcement. Ed is checking in from an undisclosed location. We're not going to be able to give that up. He is in the Bat Cave. Thank you, Ed, for joining. Good evening.
Good evening, Ron.
How's it going, brother?
All right.
All right. So we are going to be talking about Summer Wells and many other cases on a Friday Night Live, where we're going to allow some folks to call in, ask us anything, ask Ed and Ron anything. But before we get into that, I want to say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, and all of the folks who positively interact in all of our live streams, whether it's just community posts and comments. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and I thank you. Ed and I thank you for it. You give us a lot of great questions. You throw a lot of great questions out to us. Ed is always there. I don't know how he does it. He's like Superman. He's there answering questions. He's on the phone with me. He's doing his teaching. He's doing his job. He's being a great husband, a great father. This guy's a jack of all trades.
I don't sleep, Ron. I don't sleep.
No sleep for Ed Wallace. Hey, so by a show of hands in the chat, give me a number one if the audio from me and Ed is good. I'm hearing Ed a little low in my ear, but that could just be me. And we may ask Ed to pump up the volume. I don't want to have anybody say that the volume's no good, so let's wait. How does Ed sound? How do I sound? Let's go. 1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2.
All right. I think it's good. I think it's just me. Ed is a little low, says Alicia B.
All right. I'm going to raise it up a little bit.
He's going to pump up the volume. So this way we don't have any...
Pump up the jam. Pump it up. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Good. That was louder. Now I can hear you better. All right. So before we get into it, there is so many rumors swirling around in not just the Summer Wells case. I did a couple of videos about Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. It seems like with all of these cases, there's always rumors that run around. And I know it's from many people speculating and many people talking, whether it's in a Facebook group or Twitter conversation string, Instagram. You even have TikTok. So, TikTok is really a place where there's additional things that go on. So, I don't know. These rumors get things going crazy. So it is what it is. Yeah. Is out of control. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting removed. So again, Ed, what's your thoughts on these rumors that we're seeing and that we're hearing all around from all of these cases? How does that affect it? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's just a distraction. I'm sure law enforcement would appreciate it if it wasn't happening. I know I would just ignore it if it were my case, but it is disturbing that you have all of these internet sleuths out there proposing all manner of supposition and conspiracies and so forth, and there's just so much disinformation flying around the internet that it causes distractions to the investigation, and it causes heartache for the victims.
Yeah, I agree. So a couple of things that I wrote down, and before we get into it, I think it's important that we understand that we all want to help out, and human beings, especially humans that are compassionate towards crime victims, and people who feel like, well, I'm home alone, or I'm here, and what am I going to do from 1,500 miles away? Talking about the case and keeping it out there in the public eye, that has a really great impact on missing person cases, on all different types of cases. So the more you talk about it, and social media can be the most evil thing, but it also can help, as we see in a lot of these cases. But the difference is like, here we look at Summer Wells, right? She's gone missing June 15th of 2021, reported by the parents. Now here we are, into December, and Christmas is upon us, and you have conversations about this little girl being buried in 3 or 4 different locations at rumors. I'm talking about rumors. People talk about Don's parents' grave, that the child could potentially be buried there. You talk about a flower pot at grandma's home outside of her trailer, right? And then buried under the house. So there's 3 places that people speak about with this little little girl. Law enforcement has searched and searched and searched and searched. If we're hearing those rumors out there in the Twitter sphere and Facebook, on YouTube, wouldn't you think that there's a good possibility that they've checked into these spots? Ed, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, any good investigation would, if they got that kind of information, would definitely look into it. They want to dot their I's and cross their T's. They don't want to say, hey, oh, look what the law enforcement didn't do this, didn't do that, and look how shoddy this is.
Right.
Hey, Ron, are you hearing me and seeing me okay?
Yeah, I got you good. Just a little bit of hiccups, but nothing bad. The audio is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's just that maybe it's like stutter step and you're using the cellular data. And Ed's in a location where he doesn't have strong Wi-Fi, but he's got a strong cell signal. But yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right.
Yeah, continue on if you can.
Okay. Yeah. So anytime, you see something like this, like I know in the NYPD, we're constantly monitoring social media for crimes, terrorist activities, things that are occurring out there in our communities.
Right.
So, we look at what people are saying,
right.
And, it doesn't take much to, take a quick trip out to the cemetery or to the flower bed or whatever the case may be, and look at it and see if there's any validity to it.
Right.
But again, I mean, the more stuff happens like that, the more you can get distracted.
Right. And that's the thing, is it takes the attention from what's most important. And for me, I feel that it's a waste of time to start talking about, well, she's buried underneath the house. I mean, come on. A human body, whether it's a small child, whether it's a grown, whether it's a full-grown adult, if you have law enforcement that return back to the scene, which FBI, TBI have returned back to the Wells home on different occasions, there would be that clear and present odor. DTC Primetime sends in a super chat. Thank you for that. And she says, DutyRon, would Kansas timeline allow for an abduction? And for Ed, she was hypoxic and catatonic in the milk jug photo. I just want to tell you before Ed goes into that, I'm going to answer the milk jug photo. We had Barbara Butcher on with us. Barbara Butcher talked about that milk jug photo. And if you haven't watched that video, I will link it down below. She is a legal medical death investigator, and she's well versed in human remains, and if someone is clear and present with signs of death. And we asked her, Ed, you were there for it. We asked her on no uncertain terms, is this a photograph that would depict a little child that's deceased? And she said, absolutely not.
Yes, I remember it very vividly.
Yeah.
In my opinion, too, that's correct.
Yep. So, again, Lillian Gaffel, I think I'm saying that right. Is it Gale? No, Gale, Gale. I didn't see that. Wow, my site's going bad. $20 super sticker. Thank you for the support. Greatly appreciated. Hey guys, we want to hear what you feel and what your opinions are on this stuff. But I went a step further. I went ahead and contacted Trevor Lee. He is the high school. He is the college student who donated $2,000 of his own money to the reward fund early on in this case. He lives in that Beach Creek area. I'm not going to give up his exact location or where he lives, but he's a local. He's a local yokel, and he is joining us tonight. So Trevor Lee, without further ado, I am going to add him in with Ed and I. Trevor, how are you, brother?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you great.
Perfect. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Hear him.
Yeah. I can hear you perfect. Ed's having a hard time. He doesn't hear you, but Everybody in the chat, let us know if you can hear Trevor. Let me put him full screen. You could say hello. Trevor lives in the area. If you want to give the folks a little background on you, and I'll put you solo.
Perfect. Yeah, I live probably 20 minutes out of the Ben Hill Beach Creek area. So I'm in and out that whole area all the time. I've grown up in this area and know all this area very well.
Okay, great. And we had you on with us several months back when you first started, with the reward money. That was a absolutely outstanding thing that you did for your community. But you did it because you have that foundation that you represent. I believe it was the Gabby. You're gonna have to.
Yeah, the Gabby Foundation.
Gabby Foundation. Thank you. I'm old. I'm 57, Trevor. I'm an old man.
You're good.
Yeah, but so the Gabby Foundation is an organization, a 501 nonprofit that he started, and it was near and dear to his heart when he heard about what happened to Summer Wells. I just wanted to get your thoughts on some of the things that are happening now with some of the outside people from YouTube and some people from other parts of the United States that are showing up there in that area. What's the thoughts of the general consensus? I'm not asking you for yours. I'll get to that in a minute. But what's the consensus of the local folks there with all these people converging into your community there?
Honestly, there's mixed feelings. Of course, everybody here has the same goal as basically everybody following this case, which is to find Summer, bring justice to this case, and find answers because we've gone a long time without them. But honestly, people are kind of hesitant with the idea of people coming in that aren't law enforcement or law enforcement trained or search trained, because with the terrain here, like we saw before when when Dave Rader was on here and when they showed the different videos, it's a hard area to just come in and search when you don't know, when you're not local, you don't know the area, and you're just here.
Right. And that's a concern of all former law enforcement. Ed and I talk about it. When you have people who are coming in that are amateurs that could kick around evidence, not on purpose, just unbeknownst to them, when they're not trained in the, search and recovery, you could do a little more harm than good. But again, I just wanted to get your feelings because I don't know what the chatter is on the ground. How do you feel about folks coming? There was talk of people coming to protest. A group that was protesting out in front of Gabby Petito's house, not Brian Laundrie's home, where Gabby Petito's house, where she was living in Florida. They were talking about coming and converging on the scene there by, Don's location, Don in Kansas home. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I get the frustration, and I understand there was frustration with the Laundrie family and there's frustration with the Wells family. We've all agreed on that, but I don't think it's very helpful just to show up and it's not going to find any facts towards the case. And honestly, it's just going to rile people up. We know the criminal history that Mr. Wells has, and I'm not sure that's somewhere that you should just be showing up to unannounced anyways and causing problems, because it's just going to do more harm than good, in my opinion.
Right. Hey, do you have anything on in the background, like volume? Because I'm kind of hearing it come through my speakers. Or you're just using your headset?
Yeah, I'm using my headphones. There's actually a train coming through right now as we're talking.
Okay. Maybe it was a train, but I don't know. It sounded like I was hearing it back again. Ed, are you getting anything? Can you hear anything of the audio, Ed?
I'm not hearing him.
Oh, okay.
I'm not seeing him either. He's not on the screen.
Really? By a show of hands in the chat, who can see Trevor? It should be the three of us. I'm seeing the three of us together. I don't know what's going on, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the screen. Just by a show of hands, you put a 1 in the chat if you got three of us. It should be me, Ed Wallace, and Trevor. Okay, everybody can see all three of us. Thank you.
All right.
I'm like, wow, I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, so Trev, that's the thing, is that, nobody wants to taint any evidence. And that's what I like. For me, when I see it, I kind of cringe, because I think that there's so many possibilities for potential evidence to get screwed up. But, again, if people are out there trying to search and it's sanctioned by the local police and the TBI, then the more the merrier. That's how I feel. But
Absolutely.
it has to be sanctioned by them. Ed, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like the other day when we were dealing with the tragedy of Kathleen Moore, there were civilians that were out there searching, and I saw them. I understand they're trying to do what they feel is the right thing.
Sounds like we lost Ed. Maybe he is having connectivity issues. It could be. I lost.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. We lost your
Okay.
audio.
Okay, sorry. What did you lose me at?
You were talking about Kathleen Moore, and you said,
Right.
yeah. So
there were people out there searching, and they were trying to do what they felt was their civic duty. But in their searching, I'm watching them. Obviously, it was the news footage that I was following. So there was news people, and they were filming these people searching, and they were turning things over and touching things and kicking things, and I was like, well, why are they doing that?
Right. Yeah, again, there's people in the chat that are sticking up for the folks, and people are saying they didn't touch any evidence, but sometimes you can not even know that you're touching evidence and touch it, and kick it around and move things around, or again, it's when Equusearch comes out and a search group that's organized, they go out with law enforcement with them, so that's the thing. Go ahead, Trev.
I was just gonna say, with that, I feel like also it's a big thing to just respect law enforcement. Like when this first happened, I've been in contact with TBI, with local law enforcement this whole time, and I did reach out and was like, if there's any kind of community search efforts being planned or anything that you guys need of us, I'd be more than willing to help. But when they said there wasn't, I just stopped. That's the request of the people that know what they're doing. I'm gonna leave it there, because I wouldn't walk into a hospital and ask a surgeon if I can help somebody do open heart surgery. That's his job. He knows what he's doing. So I'm going to leave it to him.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. And again, people have the best intentions, but sometimes it's not a good thing. Now, I am not keeping track of what's going on down there. I'm just hearing things, so I don't know exactly what anybody did, but I do say this. It's like, you want to help with the guidance of the investigating authority. Don't take it into your own hands to do your own investigation and start poking around in places that law enforcement might not necessarily want you to be. And that's all I'll say with that. Trev, again, I value your opinion, and that's why I reached out to you, because I know that you're a local resident, you're a local community fella, and you care about the either recovery or her remains brought home, or her being brought home. You care. There's no ulterior motives to what you're doing and why you're doing it. So that's the whole thing, and everything that we've done here with Dave Rader and Twila Cisco and Gene from the search with the drones. I mean, countless hours of volunteer work, and they have one thing and one thing only on their minds, and is finding Summer Wells. There's no look at me. This is about finding that baby, whether she's alive or deceased. It's one goal, and is to just bring her home. So that's an important thing. People should not lose focus of that. I don't know all the people that are down in that Beach Creek area. I don't know those people personally. So I just say this, again, I feel the more the merrier. But when there's rumors of different places and different places to go and look at and see, it's not always a great thing to do that on your own. But I do appreciate you taking out the time to come in and, give us some of your thoughts. Anything else? What was your takeaway from, you and I were talking with the searches that recently wrapped up there, the 2-day search. What was your thoughts of that? I know you went by and you saw some of the stuff. Was it an impressive sight to see? Was it bigger than the first set of searches? Can you give us a little bit of maybe on the ground insight to that?
Yes, it was very promising to see where this has been going on for so many months now. to see them come back and have such a tactical search. I mean, you know, as they talked about on the show, they had the planes, you had dogs, you had on foot searches, drones. There were a lot of resources put towards that really showed that they're nowhere near giving up on this, and they're following, even if they're not sharing, they're following every lead and hole that they're going through. And that was very promising to see that they're back and still going at it.
Yeah, no, I remember the days that was going on. You and I were speaking by text message, and you were, telling me, "Hey, Ron, I'll let you know, what's going on, what kind of movement," and that was good behind the scenes stuff for me to give me a kind of a bird's eye view, and Ed too. So Ed and I followed it. We covered it. We saw that fixed wing aircraft. Ed, I don't remember the wording on that technology that possibly was in there, but that is impressive in itself, right? I don't know if you can go back over that, Ed, about that fixed wing aircraft.
Yeah, that was a very high-end radar system used for tactical mapping.
Wow. So that's something that they could be using now in the future to X off some of the areas maybe that they looked and then that she's not, right? Ed, are you hearing me?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, you cut out.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that they could use that technology and that mapping that data that they recovered from that fixed wing aircraft to map off areas that Summer is not.
Right. And in addition, that particular technology allows them to cut off the canopy top and see what's below it. And again, you get a better idea of what's happening underneath the trees and on the ground itself. Yeah. So then they can check it off, as you said, and move on to the next area to search.
Yeah, I agree. Trev, did you see any, like you were talking about the dogs. Were you able to see any of that, or did you just kind of drive by and say, hey, let's let them do what they got to do?
Yeah, I didn't see, besides the coverage when they covered it with the news media, I was in and out, but I didn't stop or stay for anything, just to keep distance and let them do what they were doing.
And they were all at the church, right? The same area where
yes, they ran that mobile command out of the same church that they did when this first all started.
That's great. I'm going to look at some of the live chatters because I don't like to just ignore the chat. This is going to be a quick live stream because Ed's got stuff that he's doing. He's teaching a class tonight, so he was kind enough to go into a small little conference room or wherever, a little room off to the side. So I appreciate that. And I know he's got limited time. So Wesley Lee says, we're going to get justice. We should search. I believe we should be absolutely not disrupt anything that may be remotely resemble a crime scene or a burial. Absolutely, Wesley Lee. Again, like I said, searchers are, it's always great to have searching. More eyes, the better. But you have to check in with law enforcement. You got to get their blessing. If you're not going to get their blessing, then it could be, we could run into a dangerous situation where things can get a little dicey. So Lori Elliott says, I'm a bit late. Anything new on this case? We're just talking about some of the rumors, some of the false rumors, some of the things that people are talking about. Summer being buried in a little flower pot outside of grandma's little shack or, trailer home or whatever you want to call it. Her Summer being buried underneath the Wells property, underneath the house, which is ridiculous. And then her being buried at the grave of Don. How far away is that from the house, Trevor, that grave site for Don's parents? Do you know?
I'm actually unsure. I didn't know where their family was buried at.
Yeah. So most people don't even know. I really don't know because that's not something that I would even consider as a possibility, because to me, that would be the most ludicrous thing for someone to do. And I think time spent around that is just wasted time. Again, law enforcement has technology. Ed, you've spoken about it, where they can detect if there's something underneath the ground. There's different kinds of radar and things that they could use to go over the ground or even from the air. Gene Robinson talked about drones can detect if ground was disturbed over a period of time. So, yeah, I mean, Ed, I know you could talk for days about this. But I'm sorry that you're having those connectivity issues.
No, I'm here. Okay. You're right. We could use thermal imaging. We can use any number of other infrared photography. We could use ground penetrating radar. There's any number of things that we can actually do around suspected soil that we felt was maybe disturbed, in a shallow grave being in there.
Right. And you know what, too, again, I feel like they use that ground penetrating radar outside of Orrin and Orson West's property in California City. They went over it. It looked like a old fashioned lawnmower. The FBI had it. It was a fixed kind of like old lawnmower, something that you'd see that would just cut the grass that my grandfather used to use. Mm-hmm. And they were pushing it, and they were going over every piece of the property, and it was the ground penetrating radar built into this little hand pushed mobile device. Mm-hmm. That's all it would take, is to just go over there and push that thing over the ground, and they would know.
Run the dog too.
Right, yeah, run the cadaver dogs over there, and things of that nature. What about the ponds? Deborah Palmer saying we saw the divers back there again. That was another part of the component of that 2-day exhaustive search. We saw divers in small little ponds going through it, 2 in a row, doing all pieces of the pond. So there was the aviation component, there was the ground component, there was the dogs, and we saw divers in different locations. So and
there's tech for that too. There's side scanning sonar that you can put it on your boat and go out to those ponds and do a grid on the pond and map the bottom. Right.
Absolutely. So Trevor, I appreciate you coming in. You have anything else that maybe you want to put out there to some of the people in regards to summer wells? Any thoughts or anything like that, Trev?
I think that's about it. I mean, I just think we should all keep praying and trust our law enforcement and follow the facts and try not to run down any rabbit holes that would just take any resources away. Gosh,
how old are you now? 19 or 20?
Actually just turned 20 Monday.
Happy belated birthday, kid.
Thank you.
20 years, but many years ahead of that in maturity. So thank you, Trevor.
Happy birthday, Trevor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. And I tell you, again, your parents must be very proud of you, because you are a complete gentleman. So I'm honored to know you, and I hope that we can continue to have this communication back and forth. And will you come back and join us again sometime soon, Trev?
Absolutely, Ron. Anytime.
I appreciate you, kid. All right, go enjoy your Friday night, and I'll see you on TikTok.
He's a bright young man, and he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Ed. It was good seeing you guys.
All right, Trevor. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Wow. Yeah, I'm always so happy to talk to him, even when we do our text messaging and stuff like that. I think of the future. Our future is bright. We have our kids too, Ed. You're raising great family, and myself too. And you just look at a kid like Trevor and you say, wow, there's hope. There's hope.
Yeah, there's not many 20-year-olds that would join us on a Friday night, to do this and what he's done in the past. And I'm just so impressed. I can't tell you how.
Yeah, the kid is unbelievable. There's people asking in the chat, is Trevor a cop? He probably would make a really good detective. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, he's got the skills.
Yeah. So let's bring in our next guest, Chris. First to deploy. Chris Starnes is here. He is our drone pilot, and he is also a Tennessee resident. We're going to ask him what his thoughts and opinions are on what's going on current in that area. Chris, thank you for joining. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Ron?
Good. I got Ed Wallace. He's in a undisclosed location. He doesn't have butterflies flying around him like Gene did. Last time we were live, Gene had bugs flying all around in his screen. And Chris, what's your thoughts on what's going on? You live in that general vicinity. Anything for the folks of Tennessee and outside and all around?
Yeah. First of all, I want to say, Trevor, happy birthday, man. I love that guy. He's so fantastic. I was able to have lunch with him one day a while back, and just, to be 20 years old and to be as smart as he is just amazing. But yeah, Ron, to be honest, I'm very upset. I think it's ridiculous what's going on. I know that's just my opinion, but this is about a little girl, a 5-year-old little girl that's missing. That we should be bringing attention to that. We shouldn't be out here protesting in the streets. I respect their right to protest, but coming down here and doing anything more than that, I think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we should really just keep the focus on finding this little girl.
Right. Well, you know what? I mean, in fairness, I haven't seen anything because I don't have time to look at that stuff. But I did get messages on DutyRon.com, and thank you to all of the Crime Time with DutyRon fans for Ed Wallace and I get an unbelievable amount of messages. So I do know from the messages that there's factions of people down there. From what I gather is there's not a lot getting done, but maybe there is. I don't know. But for me, I stick to conforming to the law enforcement protocol, because that's what I did for 2 decades. And, I wouldn't think into, never mind my own community, but somebody else's, and trying to push my way around. I couldn't, and I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just me. If I would offer a helping hand and they wanted it, like, through Equusearch, like what we did, how we brokered coming back there and searching for her, that's I'm all in. And you were there for it. You did you did the drone work with Gene Robinson. You were there with Twila and Dave, but you were invited, and that's your own community. I mean, you didn't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to go throw up my drone," even though law enforcement said no, and just do it.
Right.
Again.
Yeah. And sorry, Ron. Yeah, you're right. Recently, we've been out there recently. My organization has trying to do some more searches, but we've only done that with law enforcement's permission.
Right.
We spoke with the TBI, and they gave us permission to do it. So, I agree. You don't want to go out there without their permission. And, you're hearing of things like trespassing on people's property. Look,
Yeah.
I get it. There's a lot being said about the wells, but you still have to respect people's privacy. You can't be going on the properties and doing things like that. Again, it's just about finding Summer.
I agree. Well, wholeheartedly. The lab sends in a $5 super chat and says, "Do you think this case gets solved? I feel the people involved will never tell or admit anything." I'll answer and then I'll go to Ed. I have hope. I hope and pray that this case gets solved. It takes a lot of work to get something like this done. And you know what, Don and Candace, they have not, in my opinion, been truthful about what is going on. The story stinks to high heavens, and I'll stick to that. I'm not going to go into anything more than that, but I feel that this case will get solved. It eventually will, because somebody will make a mistake. Ed, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to get solved. I mean, just look at the recent events with the Jimmy Hoffa case. Okay. They're looking at a site they're going to dig up in New Jersey now, based upon some news reporting done on it. And it looks very promising.
Yeah. And it's you never want to give up hope. And you hear Ronnie Lawson, you hear the TBI. We haven't heard the TBI recently, but you heard that they're never going to give up on it. Same thing with our boys in California City. Look at the Suzanne Morphew case. 360 some odd days went by, and everybody mother effed the Chaffee County Sheriff. Small-time sheriff's departments, similar to Hawkins County. And they said that they were corrupt. They said that they were on the take, that were never going to. They have Barry Morphew charged with the murder of his wife. Granted, he did get out on bail, very high bail. I don't agree with that. I think that he should just be rotting in jail. But they let him out, and that's not law enforcement. That's the criminal justice system. You know what I mean? We click them up, we put the bracelets on them, put them in, and then the prosecutor and the district attorney and the judge, they make that decision. And that deal was brokered. I cringed. That was horrific to see that guy walk out of there. I don't care what, $1 million bail, whatever the hell it was horrible. DTC Primetime, thank you for the $5 super chat. She says, Candace was not truthful, in my opinion. I concur. I agree. But again, we're not police. We are not the people who are involved and are responsible for putting that case together. So we could say all we want till we're blue in the face. It's up to law enforcement and the district attorney to come up with the evidence and come up with charges going forward. So we can say and do all of this stuff again until we're blue in the face. Chris, you want to talk about anything else that you can talk about drone wise? First to deploy, you are a 501c3 nonprofit with a train running through your yard right now. We hear the whole caboose going through. Talk about your company and all the great things you're doing, your nonprofit. If anybody wants to donate to First to Deploy, I implore you to do that. I'm going to link it in the description. Chris, you got the floor, kid.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Man, I've been over the moon recently with some of the progression that we've made with this organization. We got our 501c3 approval back, and to be honest, it was a lot quicker than what a lot of organizations have to do with the IRS. And we didn't go to the short form. We'd done everything that we were supposed to do, and so I was very happy when we got that letter in the mail saying that they approved us for that. Recently, we've had a very generous young lady that was, kind enough to donate an RV to us.
Awesome.
That's going to help so much. And, we're going to be able to make a mobile command unit out of that. And it's going to help us, when we go on scene, we're not going to have to process our images back at a hotel or somewhere else. We'll fly our drones and we'll process our images right there. Right on scene, and I think it'll be the difference between success and failure on some of these cases. But yeah, Ron, we're just very excited about the direction of this organization has took.
And when you and I spoke about the ambulance, retired ambulance, or a RV, and this is almost like it was like a godly intervention that all of a sudden this woman comes on to one of the streams that you were on. And guys and girls, First to Deploy, Chris is from Tennessee. He lives how far away from that area? You're 15, 20 minutes from Ben Hill. His first order of business is to find somewhere else. That's the first mission of First to Deploy, and he is all in. I can't even tell you how many conversations I have with this kid on the side. We speak not recently on a continuous basis, but we've got hundreds of hours of hanging out and just talking about this case. Yeah. So, and between him, Chris, myself, Dave Rader, Twila, we've had like a party line going with the three-way conversations, talking about ideas and things of that nature for months and months. So, I encourage folks to go and look in my description where I'll have a way to donate to the First to Deploy, to Chris's organization, to Equusearch. I have the wristbands. I'm still selling these for Dave Rader and his great organization. There it is in the chat right there. Fundraiser for Equusearch Midwest. That is still ongoing. I want to raise as much money as I can for those people because they're the ones that go out and search. They're not the ones that go out and cause drama and nonsense. They're out there to do one thing, is to bring the missing home. Lost is not alone. And that is what I wear every day on my wrist, and I breathe it. I think everything that they're doing is fabulous. And if you follow missing person cases or any kind of cases where someone went missing, you can't talk about it without Equusearch's name coming in. Between Tim Miller in Texas and Dave Rader, these guys are great. And I also had Mark Class from the Class Kids Foundation on with us as well. But yeah, so the Summerwell's case is far from being a cold case. They're working behind the scenes day in and day out. It's just that we're not getting the details, and because we're not getting the details doesn't mean that they're not doing anything. So we need to, as Trevor said, and as Ed has constantly said, myself, Chris here, you don't want to cause extra work for these guys because they already have an astronomical amount of leads and things to follow up with. So if you're giving them extra work, it's like a bad hemorrhoid. It doesn't go away. They don't need it. It's not good. It's uncomfortable. So that was a bad thing for me. Hold on. All right, let's start it over. But yeah, Ed, you know what I'm saying. It's like, the caseload is large. They're getting, people are calling in tips. They got to follow up on those tips. They don't just take the tips and go like this and throw it in a waste paper basket. A detective or an investigator has to follow up on every tip that gets called in.
Yeah. Otherwise, if they don't, they're leaving themselves open. And, they have to report all of this on a DD5 in our case. And the supervisors see that, these tips are coming in and they have to be followed up on.
Yeah. So that's the thing. And again, we looked at this with Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. There was a huge amount of area to cover in 2 different states. And then we had people going on to the tip hotline and calling in that Brian Laundrie's mom was handing him notes in a flower bed in the backyard. Anybody in the chat remember the flower bed video? I saw it 100 times on all different platforms between Facebook, Instagram. I saw it on TikTok. I saw it on YouTube. Brian Laundrie's mom leaning over to do something, and there was somebody made it look like there was a hand coming up. So he was living underneath the flower box in the backyard of the Laundrie family. It's just like people coming up and saying that Candace buried Summer Wells in the flower pot outside her mother's shed or trailer or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's ridiculous. Who said that? Hold on. Regina Carter. Oh my God. So ridiculous. I mean, right? Chris, you heard that ridiculousness, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It really was ridiculous. I agree.
I don't even know how an adult can even go with that. It's just utter insanity. I mean, you need to go and get your meds checked. I mean, come on. How do you even feel comfortable with that going with that? I mean, come on. Anyways, Chris, you got a lot of different things on your plate with different cases because Summer Wells is not the only young child that's missing in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee has an overwhelming amount of cases of missing people. How many calls are you getting? The calls from because you got that heavy piece of equipment donated by Tim Miller. What has that done for you with keeping you busy? You getting some phone calls and things of that nature for use of that?
Oh, Ron, you wouldn't believe. If it wasn't for the rain in Tennessee these past few days, we would be out searching right now. We've got some, you all talked earlier about, solving some of these cases and how they could go cold. And, we're going to be solving a lot more of these cold cases because of some of this technology that we have. We're being called on, to go to West Tennessee, to Ohio, South Carolina, North Carolina, everywhere. It's insane. It has really took off, and we're super happy to be able to go out and try to bring closure to some of these families. Next weekend, we have plans for out west of Nashville. Our Ohio plans got canceled, but I'm sure we're going to be back up there as soon as the new year's over. And of course, Summer Wells will continue to be out there and continue to do what we can to try to bring that little girl home.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like so much still needs to be done. And as we all speak, when we speak privately on the phone, we know where she's not. and now it's a process of elimination. So,
Right.
yeah. Anyways, I promised Ed 45 minutes, and here we are at the 45-minute point. I have so much more that we could talk about. Twila's in the chat. Oh wait, is that Twila? Yeah, that is Twila. I sent her the link, but she's late to the party. The typical blonde female. She's late.
Oh, easy there.
That's my little dig to Twila. I know I'll get a lot from all the other the beautiful blonde women in the chat. They're all going to be like, DutyRon, really? Come on. But that was my little dig to Twila. She's late to the party.
Hey, Ron.
Oh, you got a text coming right now.
Can I add something here? A little humor.
Yeah, please.
Since you brought up, hemorrhoids, we had our little discussion back about Kegels, but let me tell you my hemorrhoid story.
Oh no!
So we have an officer-involved shooting in Alphabet City, and it's a running gun battle between the NYPD and this perp, extensive criminal record, and unbeknownst to the officers involved in this shootout with this perp, and it's going for blocks, and it's making turns, and it ends up into a New York City Housing Authority location where finally the suspect gets put down. What the officers didn't know at the time is that the suspect was wearing body armor. Okay, so I have to start at the beginning of this crime scene out in the streets and work my way through this running gun battle, processing each street, making each turn, photographing, sketching, collecting all the ballistics evidence involved in this, right? So now this is like 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 in the morning I started, and it's on a weekday. And this young duty captain who looked like he never shaved a day in his life. He was so young. I was thinking that, does his mother know that he's out here playing police officer? But
that young.
That young. Anyhow, so I start processing the scenes, and I'm working my way down. I'm photographing, sketching with my partner, just 2 of us, right? And we have a ton of ballistics evidence. We got cars that are shot, windows that are shot out, and I got to do all of this, right? So he comes up to me like 30 minutes into the initial crime scene. I haven't even left the initial block. And he says, do you have any idea when we can open this crime scene? And I says, Captain, this is quite extensive crime scene. This is going to take some time. Right. It's not a very easy process or a fast process. I have to be very methodical. Okay. And we have an officer involved shooting with the suspect dead. Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, he walks away. I get onto the next block. I start the process all over again on that block, sketching, photographing, taking measurements, writing notes, collecting the evidence, processing, bagging. 45 minutes into that, he comes up to me again and he says, Detective, can you tell me when we're going to be open in the street? Now, at this time, it's around, 4:45 in the morning.
Right.
And I said, look, I got 2 more blocks, and then I got to get into the housing authority location where the body is waiting there. And so he walks away. Now, at this time, I'm on to the next block. I'm just outside the housing authority, right? So I see the duty chief arrives. And for those people that don't understand this, you can fill them in what a duty captain is, duty inspector, duty chief. Okay. So they were all having this little powwow. And I see the captain talking, and he's very animated, and he's looking at me, and he's pointing in my direction. And I says to my partner, I bet you he's going to come over and ask us again when we're going to get this street open. I said, I don't understand why this guy is so worried about traffic at 5:30 in the morning in Alphabet City. We're the police. We can control the streets. I don't understand this, right? So I'm processing, and sure enough, he comes over. And he goes, Detective, when can we get this street open? What can you tell me? I says, I don't know. I don't know, Captain. He goes, well, what do you know? He's pissed off now, and he says to me, well, what do you know? I says, I know I got a hemorrhoid in my ass, and it is killing me. And he's stunned. He walks away, and he goes back to the duty inspector and the duty captain, and all of a sudden I hear them start bursting out laughing. And I know the chief, And the chief comes over to me, Ed, and said, Ed, don't worry about the duty captain. I had to explain to him that he was your hemorrhoid.
That is unbelievable. These are high level executives on the New York City Police Department, and that's unbelievable. What a story. Police off the cuff sent in, while you were telling that story, a $10 super chat. I don't know if he's throwing money at you, Ed, but thank you for the super sticker, Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff. We have Twila, who has a hemorrhoid story, and she's coming in right now to tell it. Twila Cisco, search coordinator for Equusearch. What do you got? I got a lot of wind. Hi, Twila.
Am I in here? I don't know if I'm frozen or what.
No, you're here. What's
I can't see. Just leave the camera off, okay?
Okay. Oh, I got to shut the camera off?
Yeah, because it's windy here.
Yeah, but that's
Hey,
not
Ron.
that.
Hey, Ron. Ron?
Yeah.
All right, I got to take off.
All right, Ed, thank you for joining. Good night, Ed. Ed Wallace, there he is. Guys, everyone say goodbye to Ed. We're going to end this in a few minutes anyways, but good night, Ed. I know you got to
Good night, all. Good night.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Ed, have a great night.
All right, there he was. So Ed was being, he was connected by cellular data. So he was having a hard time getting a connection. It's really not an easy thing to connect by cellular. All right, Twila, Ed's gone, but go ahead. Let's hear your hemorrhoid story.
I was gonna ask him, was he sitting on concrete? Because if you sit on concrete after you've had hemorrhoids the first time, it reactivates them.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna send him some witch hazel for Christmas. That'll help him a lot.
What's going on?
I got hemorrhoids before. Every woman that's had a child's had hemorrhoids before. Chris, you probably had them too. DutyRon, you probably had them too. Everybody has hemorrhoids on their butt.
Oh boy. All right, Twila. Thank you for chiming in. It's very windy wherever you are. And is that the weather in Tennessee? We got some bad weather, a lot of high winds. That's Chris was talking about that.
We're under tornado watches. Me and Chris had to actually call off something today because of the winds.
Oh wow. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so we're supposed to have bad weather. It's like 70 degrees out here right now, and it's so windy. Actually, we had to call off what we were doing today because Chris had hemorrhoids. He just didn't want to say anything.
Oh my
He could barely walk, man.
Ay. All right. Listen,
I love y'all very much.
I love you too, Twila.
Tell Ed that's what I'm sending him, some witch hazel. It works miracles. I'll send you guys some too.
Thank you, honey.
I love y'all.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. There's Twila checking in. That was awesome. All right. So, Chris, I wanted to talk quickly about our boys in California. It's December 21st. It's going to be a year. Orrin and Orson West, Sincere and Classic. By a show of hands of anybody here in the chat, who is familiar with Orrin and Orson West? Those are our boys. Reported missing December 21st, 2020, by their adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West. Now, it's going to be 1 year, and we still don't have any answers. We're in the same predicament as Summer Wells with these boys, but it's two babies. They were 3 and 4 years old, now 4 and 5 years old. We're not anywhere closer to anything because we have parents, Chris, that unlike Don and Candace, they're not talking. They said one thing to the media, one statement, and one statement only. And it's been crickets from that family. They're free to do whatever they want. They're not being followed by anybody. Nobody's chasing them with bullhorns. Nobody is doing anything, including from what we can see. I mean, they could be doing stuff behind the scenes, but law enforcement's not squeezing these people. And we all want to know what the is going on. What is going on? And it makes me crazy when I think about this. But we went out. Gene sent one of his top drone experts to fly missions in Kern County, in Bakersfield, and did a lot of work, not only for the case of the Bakersfield 3, but they did work for Orrin and Orson West. What does drones I want to ask you this because a lot of people ask these questions, like, what does drones bring to the table when you have the thick wooded? Now the canopy is much more visible in Tennessee, but what about in a desert environment like what we have in the Mojave Desert? You want to talk a little bit about that terrain and what the drones can bring to the table there?
Yeah, absolutely. Ron, just the area that you can cover so quickly. We're covering 100 acres in 20 minutes, and 20 minutes for 100 acres is insane. If you put ground searchers on the ground for that, it's going to take them much, much longer to cover that size of an area. With our program Locate, we can locate the colors, we can find our subject really quickly. And you talked about canopies. Recently we acquired a new program where we're going to use our Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced with it. It's our thermal drone,
Right.
where it's basically like Locate, except it's going to detect any changes in temperature. So we're working with some of the developers and with Gene Robinson to do some tests on that, to kind of see the capabilities of it. But I can tell you now, it's a game changer. You get your drone out in the woods, you have someone that's out there and they're missing, and you just grid the area, map the area, throw it into this program, and it points every single area that you have a difference in temperature. And, you just walk to that area, find your subject. It's a game changer.
And you said 100 acres in 20 minutes?
Absolutely.
That's
100
amazing.
acres in 20 minutes is what we're covering.
That is insane. You can't do that on foot. 100 acres is a huge
Absolutely not.
piece of area. I want to say a special thank you to anyone and everyone who's given super chats during the course of this live stream. All the channel members, the Patreon supporters, the folks who positively interact in all these live streams. I put the link out to some of the people from Bakersfield. Joining us by audio only is Keep Shining. I'm going to join her to the live here. She may have some questions for either myself or for you, Chris. And Chris is a part of, he has his own 501c now, but he does contract and do work for Equusearch in the drone area. Keep Shining, welcome. Hi, how are you? Can I just ask first name? This is Ron.
Yes, my name is Stephanie.
Hi, Steph.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you great.
Okay, good. Okay, I have one.
Where are you calling from? And what's your question?
I am calling from Oklahoma. I've been kind of behind the scenes with the ladies for almost a year now. So it's been a very, very long, hard, emotional year. I know for all of us. So
Yeah, I agree.
ups and downs and hopes and,
Right.
all of those prayers and everything like that. So,
For the audience, she is referring to the boys, Orrin and Orson
Yes.
West and Searing Classic from Bakersfield, reported missing from Cal City. I just wanted to let the chat, there's like 600 people here. I just wanted them to know who you're referring to and what you're talking about. But yeah, emotional for all of us. I am on the other side of the United States in New York, and I'm doing what I can from a distance,
Oh, yes, you are. Believe me, I talk to Jennifer all the time and we're just so thankful for everything that you've done for the boys and that you and your supporters and just everything that everyone's done to continue to push for them and continue to ask questions and all of that stuff. But I have a question that I've never really heard anyone ask, and it's kind of baffled me for a long time. So I thought, oh, well, I'm just going to ask right now. So
Perfect, Steph.
okay, so it's about Trezel's statement, and then the neighbor surveillance, right? And then subsequently Chief Walker's statement. Okay, so I'm going to start with Trezel's statement on the news that day. He says that
This is only statement, one and only.
yeah,
statement.
one and only statement, right? So they ask, what time it all happened, and he says, well, that deep breath, and he talks about how it all played out, and he mentions the time, and he says 4:30, and then Jacqueline says 5-ish, 4:30, and he says 5-ish, or she says 5-ish. So, and then there's a couple more times that he talks about the time, and he says, you know, it was getting dark. It was right before dark, and it started to get dark. It was cold, you know, things
Right.
like that.
Right.
So then you move to, you know, a couple weeks later, you know, everyone sees the neighbor surveillance footage,
Right.
and that matches Trezel's statement, right? The timestamp on there actually says, I want to say like 16:30. I mean, you know, kind of is 16 something, which is
Yeah.
4:30.
Right.
And then it shows like the police officers pulling up around 16:53, which would be 4:53. So then move forward to, you know, at some point we had heard that the time was off an
Right.
hour. So that kind of came out, the time was off an hour. So I remember thinking, okay, so the time is off an hour, which the neighbor really didn't act like it was, and either did the other person, but okay, the time's off an hour. Now, then Trezel's statement is inconsistent with the actual footage, right? So, but then whenever I read and hear Chief Walker's statement, he says it's consistent. So my question is would that be considered an inconsistency if it's an hour difference? And if so, why are we saying that it's consistent?
Right. Great question, Steph. And I think what I understood that to be is the footage, the DVR, that's the device that makes the recording of the footage, was off by an hour. And that's what I heard from Chief Walker, because he was questioned about that. And I've been paying attention. I have a whole, like, my own little case file on this, So that time inconsistency was the difference in what the actual DVR, because it's only as good as what you have it programmed for. So if you don't change it for daylight savings, it's going to be either an hour, behind or ahead, depending on what it is, what part.
Right.
So, again, that type of inconsistency is not going to constitute or be grounds for an arrest.
Right.
So,
but why do you think that they would say that it was consistent? Was that just kind of like a statement and then everyone went with it? Or
yeah, I mean, I don't, I would be speaking for them, so I don't like to get involved in that. There could be something, there could be some very good explanation for it.
Right.
I don't think that, the chief, if he discovered that he made a mistake, that's a simple thing to just make another statement and say, look, I made a mistake on the times.
Right.
But he didn't, in fact, do that. I think what I remember is that he said that the DVR was not the right time. And because he was questioned about that time. I think Brian Wang questioned him, one of the reporters, when he was sitting in his office and he did that extensive interview. So I don't know, maybe you didn't see that, but I remember that. And he addressed that. And that's, I think, the answer that he gave for the time difference.
I know Bayan his interviewing skills are really good. He just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I loved it.
You know what, Stephanie? Him and I are still friends to this day. And he's going to come on next week when I'm going to do, a show on the year, on the 21st. And then I'm going to do a Christmas for my subscribers, my members, and everybody that's part of this Crime Time with DutyRon. I'm going to have a country music star come on and sing some Christmas carols for everybody, like I did last year. And he's going to join, and a couple of the other people who I've had on, Dave Rader. I'm going to ask, some of the the doctors that we've had come on and wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But Bayan asked me if he could be a part of the Orrin and Orson West and Cicerone Classics.
Well, you could see, I feel like you could just tell how connected he was to it all, just all the time.
He tremendously cares about them. He, Steph, he said to me when he got his contract was up and he didn't get fired. Remember the rumors about he got fired from his job. It's a contract, and the same thing happened with Perla. She got her contract was up, and she went to another station. It wasn't
Right. And people were probably begging for him after they saw some of the stuff he was doing, in my opinion.
yeah.
I
Well,
think he was really good. He's really
he,
good.
he was great. He was thorough. And Chris can tell you it's really important to have reporters that are thorough and that are persistent and that continue to cover the case to keep it going. Look at what we saw with Gabby Petito. The reporters across the globe took it and ran with it. You had people in the UK reporting on it. You had folks all over the country reporting on it every day. So they control the narrative with how the stories get out.
Well, that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about on this when you say control the narrative, because once Chief Walker made that statement, whether he just was thinking, oh, this is consistent. Now we have anything you read, it says that their statement was consistent with the video. And every time I see that, or when I hear that being said, I'm like, no, it was not. It was not consistent,
Well,
but
yeah, I mean, listen, we're hanging on anything and everything because we're not getting anything.
I know.
We have these parents that are just able to go freely about whatever they're doing, where they are. We don't know. Nobody's seen them. I don't see any news reporters asking them questions, trying to follow up with them. There's no even writings from Jamal West, right? There's I don't even know if that's his last name.
No,
but the cousin,
Watkins, but I know
Watkins,
who you're
whatever.
talking about.
You know what I meant.
Yeah.
He was the family spokesman, right?
Yes.
And now there's nothing. So we have Summerwell's the complete opposite. You have Don and Candace going live every night with YouTubers.
Speaking too much.
Speaking way too much. It's like night and day. We got one statement in a 360 something day period from those two, and then they just disappeared. Whereas you have these two just talking to everybody and anybody. They'll talk to the ice cream man if they have to.
So are they allowed? Do you think that they are? Are they, since they have no charges and there's nothing? I mean, could they leave the country? Could they leave the state? They
Absolutely.
could. Yeah.
Absolutely. But if they leave the country, there's a record of it. See, that's what everyone doesn't understand. Like, you can't leave the country without a passport, and you need to go through customs. So if they were to leave, they would know that they were going to be leaving. And
what if they went somewhere where we couldn't get them back? What is,
There's you can't legally force them to stay here unless you have charges on them. And if there's no charges, see, that's the beauty of being in America. It sometimes works to our advantage and sometimes works to our disadvantage, but it's part of your constitutional right to be able to move freely if you're not being charged with anything or being held. And they don't get me wrong, they could send an FBI agent on a plane and
following them.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not going to get into that, but it's not what everyone makes it out to be.
Okay, I have one more question that somebody had asked me to ask.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to submit things other than just to the BPD, right? What would should we do it to the Bakersfield FBI? Should we do it where else should we do it to ensure the best,
Well, I personally would send I would send it to the FBI because there's checks and balances with the feds that maybe Bakersfield might not have, but Bakersfield has pretty good checks and balances as well.
Right.
So the more the better. The Attorney General's office you could send stuff to as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
And that's kind of the plan, is just kind of making sure everyone knows that everyone has it, and it's out there,
and you know what, Steph, you can get a hold of Jen and she'll give you my number. You can text me anything that you want to text me, as long as it's not at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So any questions that you have, you can send them to me. I'm there for you. The ladies are unbelievable. You guys are awesome. So.
Yes, we are ready. We are ready for to find them and to find answers and justice and all of that. And we appreciate you so much, so much.
And I appreciate you guys right back. So keep on doing what you're doing, and thank you for calling in. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I have a whole bunch more questions, so I will definitely get a hold of you.
I'll be hearing more from you, Steph.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right. Take
Okay,
care
bye.
now. Bye. Chris, as you can see, these are people who are just, again, the same thing. You go and do these searches with your drones and you set up your RV or your site. You're going to have people who are going to want to reach out to you just to have these kind of conversations. You don't need to do it on a live stream, but this is the kind of stuff that, will be, that you'll be dealing with going forward in the future. And I hope everyone here understands that, First to Deploy, that is the name of Gene Robinson's book, right? First to Deploy. You took that, with his approval and made it the name of your nonprofit, First to Deploy. It's an awesome story behind it. I can't overemphasize the importance of everyone going and supporting Chris and the great work that he's doing. I mean, here he is, a young man. He's going to be a father in February, right? We're expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The end of February.
So congratulations. Wishing nothing but, health, happiness, and all that good stuff to you and mom to be. But Chris is all in. I can tell you, man, he is all in on this. Any words or chatter on the ground with Summerwells, anything, that you might be able to share with us? Like, I know there's a lot of different people going in a lot of different directions, but from your perspective, anything that you could share with the people that are, following this case, what you got going on? I mean, you're talking about missions going forward. You got windy conditions, but what's in store? What's next in this Summerwells search?
Yeah. So for me, it's just, trying to get out there as much as we can. And I can tell you that the leaves have fallen off the trees, just as we talked about, on previous shows. So it's made it tremendously easier to see the ground. But at the same time, you now have that leaf cover on the ground. So it's kind of a, I don't know, you win some, you lose a little bit because the leaves are on the ground. But yeah, you can see so much better out there now. I can tell you, Ron, it's so much easier to fly and to look at things and, to see, whether there's any anomalies using your near infrared or to see if there's any color.
Right.
And we've been doing a lot of different tests, not necessarily out there, but on my own to try to figure out, how far we can push this thing. We'll take out some different items that have color in them. We'll throw them under some trees in the woods, cover them up with leaves, just see how far we can push it and how far we can take this thing. One day we have possible, and I could say, well, you know what? Yeah, it is, because I've done it before. And, that's really what we're doing. And so for the future of summer, it's just trying to get back out there as much as we can and just keeping the attention on finding this little girl. And, hopefully with God's willing, we can get this done.
Yeah. Chris, that's the whole thing, to keep her name out there, keep the boys' names out there, keep talking about, all of these cases, Maya Miliete. There's so many that are outstanding, that are missing. And there's so many every day that go missing. There's just an overwhelming amount of cases. Jen, thank you for that super chat. Ron Daniels, thank you for that super chat. Jen, if one of the mods can pick up tips at calcityboys.org and just put that in the chat a little bit. That's a place where you could send in chats, where you can send in tips or information, and it goes to a private group. The ladies, I think, started that, or they're helping promote it, and you can send anonymous tips into that email, and then they'll send them in for you to both the FBI and the Bakersfield Police Department. So that's a great thing. We might want to think about doing that for Summerwells, or incorporating that, where some people are scared to call Hawkins County, or they feel like they're not going to listen to them. And TBI, some people feel like, well, I made a call and they blew me off. Well, this is a way to send in a massive amount. Like they wait till they get like 25 or 30 tips, and then they send them all in one batch to Bakersfield PD and the FBI. So it's something to think about. Chris, I think it's a good
Yeah.
idea. What do you think?
I do too. I think that's a fantastic idea. We should definitely start thinking about that and get on to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we can talk to some of the people who are behind some of the good work that, I don't know even where to start with that, but if anybody knows, please.
Yeah, we can.
You got somebody.
We can talk more about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Amy King, thank you for the $5 super chat. She says, I'm so glad to know that there is so many good people. There's so many people that care about these children and won't give up on them. Amy, amen to that. And thank you for your correspondence back and forth. We'll continue yours and my conversation. She sent me in some private information on DutyRon.com, and I'm looking forward to more communication with you, Amy. So much love and respect, and thank you for that that donation. I greatly appreciate it. Guys, I want to just say this now. If you are not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. Consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon supporter. The money that I get, and Chris can tell you this, money that I get through this channel, I filter quite a bit of it to these nonprofits. Equusearch is the beneficiary of probably close to $5,000 from this channel so far. Gene Robinson, I'll be making a donation to Chris's nonprofit eventually. So anybody that sends stuff in here, I'm always paying it forward. So I appreciate everybody and anybody that does send in stuff. But Princess Mitch, thank you for putting tips at calcityboys.org. It's an easy one. I'll link it in the description as well. I don't know, Chris, would you be willing to take any questions from anybody from the audience if I shared the link? I'm going to share the link, and then I got another 10 minutes where I can hang out here. So we'll do 10 minutes of questions. If you want to call in, just make sure you got your mic and your camera going. And then if you have questions about drone searches or the Summerwells or the boys from California City, you can call in and we could talk about it. Marianne, thank you so much. She says, thank you, Chris and Ron. I enjoy all the guests tonight. May God bless and stay safe. Amen to that. Thank you. Are they allowing parents to search with them? I don't know if that's to Summerwells or to Orrin Orson West, but the adoptive parents in California have not been vocal or been anywhere. As far as Summerwells, I think Don and Candace, I've never seen them search or do anything, but who knows? Maybe they've done stuff behind the scenes. I don't know. Does Chris have a YouTube channel? Chris?
So I don't at the moment. We have plans for that in the future. I've got a couple partners that I'm working with. So yeah, that's coming up. I would say probably in January.
Nice.
We should be getting that going in January.
I'll help promote that for you as well.
Thank you.
Darla is chiming in. Hi, DutyRon. How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm going to go full screen for a second, Chris. Hold on. These are the Lost is Not Alone wristbands. These are on DutyRon.com. It's a fundraiser for Equusearch. And anytime I can do a fundraiser for Chris's group, I will do it. If he gets wristbands or something like this, or anything that he's willing to do, and I'll talk to him about the importance of doing stuff like this, I will help him out. But this is for Dave Rader and Twila and their group. It's on DutyRon.com. If the mods can put that up, I greatly appreciate that. So let me just post the link. It's going to be one time. I've only got 10 minutes. So let's see if anybody wants to call in and ask. Let's just keep it focused on Summerwells or the boys from California City. Thank you, Joey Brooklyn. Joey Brooklyn's here. It's always good to see Joey. And let me say hello to Facebook, Twitch, what else? LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah, I think that's all of it. Yeah. So I'm on four Facebook groups, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, and and Twitter. Holy crap!
You're on the TikTok now too.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. Can't go live there. Guys,
Yeah.
consider I need 1,000 followers to be able to go live on TikTok. TikTok. Oof, that was a tongue twister. I think I'm at 900 or something like that. I'm close to 1,000, but I figured if I have 115 or 120,000 here on YouTube, I could get 1,000 in 2 seconds. Not that easy. It's not that easy. So my TikTok, I'm close to 900 the last time I checked. So hopefully I can get to over 1,000 and then I can go live there. Anybody want to call in? We got another couple of minutes. Yeah, people are laughing. Lucretia is laughing at me about TikTok. Joey is calling TikTok Periscope. Please follow there. You can find him. Yeah, so check me out over there. Somebody on Twitch wants me to talk about legalizing marijuana. I don't know about where you are. Oh, look, that person is in Brazil. Hello from Brazil. Marijuana is not legalized in Brazil. Work on it with your representative, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, so that's it. I put the link in. Everybody's always scared to talk to DutyRon. And Chris, I'm such a friendly guy, right? I mean, I don't bite.
Yeah.
But anyways,
it's Ron. Go ahead, call in.
Yeah, call in. It's an easy one. You can ask Chris pretty much anything drone related. With Summer Wells, he has searched for Summer Wells. This is a guy who has searched for Summer Wells. So maybe you may want to have a question. Lillian, first in. We have a brave soul who has decided to call in. Keesh, I see you. You're going to be next. So just keep the mic muted and we'll add you in. Let me know where you're watching from and we have your first name. Lillian, good to see you.
Hi, how are you, DutyRon?
Very good.
I'm your neighbor in New Jersey.
Yay. I love it. How are you?
I'm doing okay for a 72-year-old.
God bless. God bless.
Thank you. But listen, I want to give you a compliment too. I love what you do. You're one of the most respectful men on these channels. And I'm a member of a couple.
Okay.
And you're just your content is excellent. And I really, really appreciate everything you do. Chris, I have a question for you. How many hours do you get on your drone before you have to recharge?
Okay, so we actually get about 30 minutes per flight, depending on the payload that we have. But we have several sets of batteries that we can use. And usually when we're out in the field, we can go a couple of hours before we recharge. We are working on adding some more batteries and some better chargers. So that will be a continuous thing. So if we go out on a call, we would never have to worry about a battery. It will just continuously charge. We take one off, put them on the charger. By the time we go through all those batteries, we'd have another set ready to go. So
okay.
What we're working on now, shouldn't, another week or so, we should be able to do that. So we won't have to worry about a time.
Good. Well, I applaud you too for being such a young man and having you restore our faith, you and Trevor, and some of the young people today. You really do. So I wish you all the best. And DutyRon, keep up. I'm going to order 2 bracelets. I'm retired, so you know how that goes.
If you listen, if you can only afford one, if you want to just buy one, you could send me a message. I'll send you one. I'll throw it in an envelope and it'll be fine.
Okay. I'm learning on my tablet. I've been on this a couple of years, my tablet, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. But hey, gentlemen, keep up the good.
Don't discount yourself. You are on a live. You connected on StreamYard on a live, so that's pretty darn good.
Well, I've been known to do that on another channel quite often.
Okay.
I'm retired from New Jersey Transit, 34 years. So,
Yeah.
You know the deal with that. You got the transit up in New York. So, gentlemen,
thank you.
take care and keep up the good work.
Thank you for the love and support.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it,
Thank-
Lillian.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. All right. Awesome. It's always great to hear positive feedback. I get positive, I get negative. Joining me from, I believe, Bakersfield, and she's going to scold me if I got it wrong. So, Keesh, go easy with Uncle DutyRon. I'm going to add her into the stream right now. I'm thinking Bakersfield, but I could be wrong. Keesh, how are you, darling?
I'm good. I am Keesh all day. I
Keesh,
stand
okay?
next to
Bakersfield.
everyone know who I am.
Did I get it right? Bakersfield, right?
Yes. I'm the one that does the prayer. I'm the one that does the mass. I'm the one that does the t-shirt, the awareness, all the good stuff.
You do it all, and I loved what you do. And as a matter of fact, the interview that I had with Christian from KGET, I mentioned you in it. So I hope that he doesn't cut. I hope he doesn't cut that out, because if he does,
Well, thank
I'm coming for him.
Well, thank you. I appreciate everything that you're doing for the boys, you know, keeping them out there. I just wanted to get on and say that. And I did want to say that for people that may not have known, I don't know if Stephanie mentioned it, but we will be in Cal City on the 21st, the allegedly missing day. I will be doing a prayer there. I will be giving out toys to the kids. We adopted like some kids. I adopted kids last year, 150. So I adopted them again. It's in honor of the boys.
Excellent.
So we will there, me, Ro will be speaking to the kids about stranger danger. I'm making some things for them. They will be getting gifts. I will be giving out presents, some to the parents, you know, different ones.
Right.
So all I ask is just, if I know a lot can't make it, but if y'all can just stand in prayer with us as I pray, you know, be in agreement with me on this prayer, because this is going to be a hard day for all of us. It'll be a year. And I didn't think we was going to have to go that long, but unfortunately, it's not in our plan. It's all the time in God.
Well, Keesh, just know this, and you know, being that we're here in New York and some of us are spread out across the United States, we stand a lock of arms with you guys. The people of Bakersfield are resilient. They're strong. They are focused, and I love everything that you guys are doing. And you know, I'm all in on what I can do, and I'm using my online platform to keep the boys' names out there. It's the best that I can do from New York, clear across the United States.
That's awesome. That's the best thing. That's awesome. Prayer and keeping them out there is what we want, because we are not going to let this case go cold. So we need everyone to keep their names out there, no matter where they are, however you do it.
Yeah.
I'm just asking everyone to just do it, you know.
Well, let me just clear up something here in the chat quickly, because somebody said, oh, why is she wearing a mask? She's inside. She wants the boy's face and name to be out there. So she's wearing the mask, and so does Roro. She wears that mask because it is a look, I'm going full screen with it. The pictures of the boys are on that mask. Okay, she may be well in her home, but she wants everyone to see their faces. This is another way to put their faces out into the internet. She's not wearing a mask because she has to. She's wearing it. She's showing our boys off. She wants everyone to see it. And that's what that's about. That's what that face mask is. That is an advertisement that our boys, where are they? What happened to them? And I don't think anybody should have a question of why she's wearing that mask. And you know, again, Ro gets that all the time, and she gives that same answer to people. Look at the shirt. She's got the shirt. These are her designs. This is all of her hard work to contribute to finding out what is going on. Where are these boys? Why don't we have answers? And we're coming up on a year. So Keesh, I'm with you. My heart breaks. I pray every day for these boys. You know, and I'm all in it. I'm talking with Jennifer. I'm talking with Ro. I talk with, you know, her mom. I talk with the family. I do whatever I can, you know. And this is a whole long year of conversation, you know. So.
Right. And then I just want to also say to Carol, because I put the pictures on the shirts, but I have certain people to kind of make them how I want them. So if you guys want to purchase shirts, I am Keesh on Facebook. I do have a YouTube that I do prayer on. I have prayer on there. I have different things that my kids do for the boys as far as TikTok. So if you guys want to go look on my YouTube, you can also see little things that we do for the boys to try to, keep them out there.
There's a lot of people in the chat sending complimentary stuff to you, and the people want to know where they can purchase these T-shirts. So if it's okay with you, I will link in the description of this video a link to your Facebook,
Okay.
or whatever's easiest for people to purchase the shirts and all of
They
the.
can reach me on Messenger and Facebook, or even if they reach out to Ro or they reach out to Jennifer, they'll get to me because we're all in a group together.
Right. Okay, great. So I'll link it to you to your Facebook if that's okay. And,
That's fine.
And I'll just say if you'd like to purchase masks or any type of accessories for the boys,
Right.
contact her on Facebook. And if people don't have Facebook, go over to DutyRon.com and I will link a way to get to Keesh on my website. All right.
And I am Ladybug Gray 2013 on YouTube if you need prayer and you just want to hear some encouragement. Everyone's going through things. So if you want to hear encouragement, you can go over there and you can look at a couple things that, I pray about and do different things.
I love it. Any questions about the search for the boys? Chris is a drone pilot. He's here. He wasn't the one who was in Kern County and Bakersfield, but he works closely with the whole drone pilot team for Equusearch. Any questions?
I was just kind of wondering, why you guys didn't hit Cal City, but I think Christian answered it for me when he came to my house the other day on why, the drone wasn't done over Cal City. Now, if I understood it correctly, what he said is because they was not there, correct? The boys wasn't.
That is
basically
correct.
Okay.
Christian got that information from me, Keesh.
Yeah, he told me.
He asked me that. And, we believe that the boys never made it to California City. And there's no reason to search over there because it would be a waste of time. So.
Okay. And then one more thing. He has said that, I guess Chief Walker stated that, because we're like, well, why they didn't get arrested on just supposedly having the kids outside in the cold. So he said, Chief Walker said that they can only go on their statement. So that's why they haven't been arrested. Like they believe their statement is what I'm understanding.
Right.
I mean, is that the way it is?
Well,
they statement is what's standing to keeping them from being arrested?
Right. I don't know. I don't have access to the case file, Keesh, so it's hard for me to give you a definitive answer. But I will say this. I was a New York City police officer for 2 decades, right? And I had homes where the children were, in dirty diapers, cuts and bruises and things of that nature. But if there's food and they're not, even kids left out in the cold, right, on a balcony or, playing out in a hallway that was unheated, I thought for myself as a police officer, that was grounds to remove them. But in New York, you call child services and they're like, they go right to the refrigerator. Is there food? Is there a bed in the house? Do they have proper shelter? And, and if all of that's in place, then there's no crime. They don't just arrest somebody because the kids are out in the cold. The last time I checked, that's not a crime unless the kid's suffering from hypothermia. The kid is in danger, of something bad happening to him. So they don't have the kids in front of them, and they can't just arrest you based on having a kid out in 40-degree temperature or 30, 38 degrees or whatever it was at that time. So it's not arrestable. So that puts kind of that to rest. Not what we want to hear, but unfortunately that's the answer to that.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. I understand.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not necessarily what I'd like to hear because for me, like I said, there was many kids where I felt they should be taken away, from dirty conditions to being left in a crib with bugs crawling around them. Like for me, I was mortified by that. But when I called child services, they were like, well, they're not malnutrition. They're not, there's food in the refrigerator. Ro is in the chat.
So thank you, Keep Shining and Jennifer Nobles and Keesh all day. And of course, DutyRon, you're awesome supporters. May God continue to bring all the missing home and justice served. Notice how
Amen.
Ro continues to include all. She's not
Correct.
just about the boys, my cousins. She's about everybody. And that's what I love about not only Ro, all the people of Bakersfield. They are inclusive of everyone. And that's
Right.
what I love about the great folks down in Bakersfield, boots on the ground. They're unbelievable people. So
And if everyone can keep Cherie Smith in prayer also, it's 10 years coming up in January for her daughter to be missing, and the case is cold.
wow.
So we need to keep her uplifted in prayer also.
Yeah. Please continue to pray for her family, for all the families that
Right.
are out there.
Right.
Keesh, I appreciate you coming. It's the first time we got to talk. But you get my number from Jen. You can call me anytime you want.
Okay. You have a blessed one. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. That was Keesh all day from Bakersfield. Unbelievable. I love it. Chris, we're gonna wrap it up, and I like to always wrap it up with a little bit of a prayer. But do you have anything to say for the folks? Anything? Final words?
Just
hate to
thanks
put
for
you on
having
the
me on
spot.
tonight, Ron. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fine.
Listen.
I appreciate you having me on tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris, you're an important part of this whole true crime genre, and what my channel does and what I continue to do. You are a big part of it. You, Gene, Brian, Twila, Dave, and everybody who has inserted themselves in a positive way for no,
Right.
bad reasons. Anybody that has good intentions, I lock arms with them. I say,
Absolutely.
any help that is with good intention, I welcome it. But people that are, that have ill intent and that have their own self put first, I see right through that bullshit, and I don't like it. So I stay far away from people like that. But again, there's more good than bad out there, and that's what we have to be thankful for.
Yes.
So I'm going to end this, as I do always, with you here on the screen with me. God bless the world. God bless the United States of America. And God bless each and every one of us here in the chat. And all victims of crime and their families across the globe, but especially Summer Wells, the Orrin Orson West, the biological family, and all the folks on the ground in both communities that are out there looking and searching for answers. So we pray for them. And I say thank you to everyone here who's contributed, who's positively interacted, and that contributes positively to these cases that we cover. On behalf of DutyRon Crime Time with Ed Wallace and First to Deploy from Tennessee, New York, and Tennessee, we're sending you guys love and respect. Peace. Take care.